Okay, from here on, let me open this up to the floor. I'm sure there are a lot of questions. Hopefully we've got it around and you realize that there's really not an area you can't ask about. So go ahead, please. The question was around the area, whether or not they're going to survive the legal challenges to their business model.
We're not experts in the law, but if you look at what's been happening, they are fighting it pretty well. And they're sort of well stacked with attorneys. There's an Aereo equivalent in Scandinavia that seems to also be getting similar traction out there. So this will be sort of the year, right? They've gone commercial in a few markets, and the court cases will continue through the year. So at this point, we'd vote yes.
No, I think, well, just and with that, right, to what you had in your presentation, I think with that and with live sports starts to break the back of the traditional bundle, right? And so if you can start to get both of those things, plus a Netflix, plus something else, I think you aggressively push the time frame where digital bundles start to take off.
And fresh off the press, HBO Go, which has joined Chromecast. So gradually, everything is falling apart into that new model that someone envisioned at some place.
George, you talk about connected homes and connected cars. Could you define connected cities and connected planet?
Well, yeah.
The question was around connected cities and connected planet, how one would define it, and
connected planet is. I'm sure it's a term being used in other areas, but at Incode we had a practice area on devices, a practice area on applications, and we thought it's not really just that, it's everything. So connected planet is everything that's sort of people to machine or machine to machine connected. It can be wide, so it includes all the categories I described. Connected cities, when you think of a lot of the trends that are happening there, about 10 years ago, cities were rolling out Wi-Fi. And then that didn't quite play out in general, except for maybe airports, and now it's coming back. But when you think about your experience around toll roads, you think about Wi-Fi everywhere, you think about the security cameras that are all over big cities, you think about being able to now track assets around the city. It's really municipalities partnering with businesses to enable more and more connected things and people in their area.
Questions around how U.S. stacks up against Europe on the advertising base.
Yeah, well, just using advertising models to get to that.
Yeah, and so I was just sort of looking, at least if we go by a revenue standpoint, and the U.S. is 50%, rest of the world is 50%, right? So as you start to think about how advertising models are evolving, we tend to be the leader, the trendsetter in that market right now. I think there are some, based on their views on data, how you can use it, what you can use it, how you target, their regulations are different than ours. So I think you'll start to see different emerging models there, and actually some may transport back here if we start to embed regulation or other things into the businesses. But right now it appears we have a nice lead in some of the areas.
Yeah, we've seen in certain demographics, and this is maybe in the U.S. that relate to the rest of the world, where opt-in is obviously based on budget is accepted more in some lower demographics, but then the activity that occurs after opt-in is actually higher. So and when you look at India, which has a very low ARPU, my understanding, and I haven't been in India in a long time, is that in the wireless business, there is a much more ad-supported model already just within the wireless business.
Bert, can you take a stab at that?
Yes. So what's interesting in this space is, I was talking about innovation labs, and the reason these innovation labs are coming about is the fact that customer behavior is changing so rapidly, the marketers and the business can't keep up with it, and the advertising models aren't keeping up with it. Right, with the new behavior that we're all exposing. I mean, if you don't have a DVR in this room, I'd be shocked. But we're DVRing advertising away. We're using alternative, over-the-top entertainment to get rid of advertising. If you watch a child, you can watch them move away from advertising rapidly from device to device. Right, so you have to think of a different way to advertise. And that's where marketers are really, in the US, are starting to get savvy, and they're saying, I've got to change the whole a new customer experience model. I've got to create content that's in context at the right moment, at the right time. I can't just, carpet bomb with TV ads and expect them to always work anymore. So that's what's happening with these innovation labs. They're looking at how can I have a new customer experience? How can I offer them the right advertisement or the right promotion at the right time? And do it in a way that's not intrusive, but is something they're actually looking for. So I think that's where we're seeing a big change, and American marketers are really striving hard to do that. Someone like Mondelez, who has Oreo cookie and many other of those brands, actually looks at it differently. They look at the US market as a lower growth market for them because they've already saturated with their brands. So they actually moved their innovation center to Buenos Aires, Argentina, with the specific task of focusing on emerging markets. And how do you market to those folks in Latin America, Africa, and Southeast Asia? And they said, do not focus on the US market, that one we've got under control. Focus on the new markets where we see double-digit growth rate opportunities. So that's the type of things that are going on.
But I will to pile on that one a little bit, the skill sets and the capabilities are so much lower cost in other areas of the world that they're starting to catch up rapidly with the innovation centers in Israel and all over the world. So you're starting to see companies deploy all over with those capabilities, one because of cost and two just because of differences.